Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Om Agyantimandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Dina Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manupistam Sthapitamira Bhutale Swayam Rupakaramayam Narati Swavadantikam Namah Vishnuvada Kashabisa Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Saraswati Deve Govani Pachayani Nivishesha Shunyavari Pashata Reshatarine Vanshakapa Tvivesha Kripa Sanivevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So do we just speak in English or do we need translation? English, good, because with translation it takes double the time. Is there a need to introduce myself, or everybody has met me, knows me? I can quickly do it myself. I don't know. Shall I introduce myself? You will do that? Okay, go ahead. But quickly. Only a very brief introduction. You want my mic?
Hare Krishna. We are very fortunate to have with us Her Grace Devaki Mataji. Mataji is born in 1958 and subsequently when came in touch with the devotees, she was in Australia initially serving, and after some time, like now she started traveling across the globe, preaching in many of the parts of the Europe and other countries. And she was, for a good amount of time, she spent her time in the Bangladesh also, where Mataji says that I got to learn a lot of the Vedic culture from there. And she was traveling across and conducting the Japa retreat and many other seminars, and eventually seeing the need of that Prabhupada has mentioned that devotee should write. Mataji has taken on some of the very specific themes which are helpful for the devotee community. She has written currently 5 books she has written, and travels across and preaches Krishna consciousness. And we are very fortunate that Mataji is here in Bangalore. And even in the, I think in the month of December, Mataji is conducting this Japa retreat in the Eka Chakra for 3 days around 21st to 25th. So many devotees take advantage of this seminar at the Japa retreat. So we are very fortunate that Mataji is here. Let us express our gratitude and welcome Mataji by chanting Hare Krishna mantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Actually, I have visited you here before. Last time I was here was 2018, just before pandemic, 6 years ago. We had the program, and that building here was nothing built yet, was empty block. So now, very nice to see that you've established your nice temple, opened it last year. Everything's very beautiful, tastefully arranged. So very wonderful. Yeah, so thank you for allowing me to visit you for this 1 week. And today we are starting the first session on the topic of the false ego, our constant companion and troublemaker. We will have today 1 session, and I believe Monday, Tuesday, 2 more sessions. Actually, when I give the whole seminar in Mayapur, it is 10 hours. So here we have only 3 sessions. Of how long do we go? To 9, or what? What's the timeline? Till what? 5 minutes of question. Okay. Yeah. So I will have to give a shortened version of it. But as you may see, there is a book with the same title. And the book even has more than what I can give in a 10-hour seminar. So I hope you may feel inspired to get the book. So let me maybe share a few little thoughts why I felt inspired to give this topic of the false ego some more attention. Especially since I've been conducting Holy Name retreats for many years all over the world. This mic is always cutting out. It usually means that the batteries are flat. So I hope the new set of batteries there, maybe you can hear, it always cuts out. So please fix it. It's a little irritating. So yes, after conducting Holy Name retreat for so many years, one day this realization, Hare Krishna, can we fix this, please? I don't like these cordless mics because this is usually what happens, especially when I use them. Seem to have some bad karma over the cordless mic. So it's a little annoying. Do you have a mic with a cord? Then we don't have that problem, you know. We may think it's so much more advanced to have it cordless, but then we have all this stuff, you know. Yes. So in any case, after conducting so many retreats, the realization one day hit me that unless we parallel to our endeavors to get on deeper levels of chanting, if we don't parallel, make some endeavors to dissolve the false ego, then our chanting can be seen as an elephant taking bath. What is the elephant doing? As soon as he comes out of the water, he takes a trunk and throws all the dust back on his back. So that exactly is what we do. After, you know, trying to deepen our chanting, we just slide back into the false ego patterns of behaviors. And then we actually can't receive the blessings and the power which the Holy Name gives. That's why we know Mahaprabhu tells us, Trinada Pisunichena. You know, we have to be more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. So that means false ego has to be dissolved and subdued. Otherwise, we can't be more humble and more tolerant. Not possible. So, and that realization struck me, that I thought all these Holy Name retreats are almost a little useless if we don't at the same time work on the false ego. And then also another realization struck me, that interestingly, the bigger our false ego is, the less we recognize it. We think it should be the other way around, that the bigger it is, the more prominent it is, the more visible it is. But no, other way around. And in this regard, I also have a little episode to share. I know one Mataji who has a very prominent false ego, and as a result, she always gets herself into tension conflicts with others. So at one stage, she was a little frustrated, and she turned to me and shared her heart. So I thought, all right, let me try and give her a hint what the actual problem is. And I was very careful. I was saying, well, you know, the false ego always gets us into trouble. And then her response was very interesting. She was laughing, saying, "Come on, false ego, what's that? I don't have that." I thought, oh my God, how is it possible? You know, a person who is so tortured by their false ego thinks they don't have it. I was speechless. I was shocked. All I could think of saying is, I wish I could say this about myself, that I don't have a false ego. That's all I said. I didn't say any more than that. So it is indeed like that. It requires a little bit of purification. And the more we become purified, the more we realize how it always gets into our way and pushes us to say and do things which we shouldn't say and do. And another thing is also that very easily in Krishna consciousness, we can miss the target completely. We can feed and boost the false ego and massage each other's false egos, all in the name of Krishna consciousness. It's happening massively. Yes. You know? Instead of subduing and dissolving it, we use Krishna consciousness to show off, of trying to become a more and more important person. And this is all false ego matters. Yes. So we can completely miss the target entirely, all in the name of Krishna consciousness. And we may think we are doing the right thing, but actually we are doing something else. Yes, and also I remember another time in Vrindavan, I was giving a shortened version also of the false ego seminar. And then one Mataji who has been practicing for at least 25 years, seriously, she came up to me and said to me, "Oh, thank you, Mataji, for giving the seminar. Now I realize I actually have a false ego." And she said, "I always thought this is just some theoretical and philosophical thing which has no relevance for me. But now I realize it actually has, you know, after 25 years of practice." So all these points, you know, inspired me to dive into this topic and explore it a little more and present it wherever I get an opportunity, just to bring attention and awareness how this false ego affects us every day. So much as a little introduction. So now let us remember. Is there still some incense on somewhere? I can smell it coming from somewhere. Yeah, please extinguish it. It affects my voice. I'm allergic to incense. Oh no, I extinguished that already. That must be something else. Anyway, just by the way, I know a few devotees who got lung cancer from incense. Pujaris who are breathing in the incense. For the body, it's like smoking. Yeah, just for your information. Yeah, and as the body ages, you become more sensitive to it, you know. Yes. Any kind of any kind of smoke for the lungs is like smoking a cigarette, you know? And you get lung cancer breathing in the incense all day from doing pujas on the altar, you know. Anyway, no need for you to run around now. Better you stay here and listen. Maybe there's some arty going on behind the curtains or something. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that can also be taken out. Yes. All right, so let us remember the soul is covered by a gross body made from earth, water, fire, air, ether. And then we have the subtle body, mind, intelligence, false ego. Here we have it. So false ego is the most subtle part of the subtle material body. And it is so subtle that we easily miss it. And in the same way, how in our gross body, earth, water, fire, air, ether, hard to separate, right? You show me, where is the earth here in your body, or the ether, you know? No, it's all mixed together. You can't actually really separate them so easily. Same thing is there in the subtle body. Mind, intelligence, false ego, they all affect each other. They're all entwined. You can't really separate them. And it's interesting to understand how the false ego uses the mind and intelligence as tools to get the gratification it demands. So like even, for example, when we chant japa, what we often think is the mind that disturbs us. Once we get some little insights into the false ego's workings, we realize actually behind the mind, the false ego is hiding and is using the mind, you know? Yes. Like, for example, when some topics go around in our head in circles, some monologues, some dialogues, you know that feeling? Yes? Or is it only me who knows it? Yes. So guaranteed a sign for the false ego to take us for a ride, to harass us. Yes. So it's quite subtle. And all these subtleties need some awareness, some consciousness to recognize it, you know, very easily we don't identify that. So, and we know at the moment of death, the subtle body carries the soul to its next destination. So in other words, we have carried the same mind intelligence for the ego with us for so many lifetimes. So in the subtle body, there are so many impressions, attachments, desires stored like in a computer chip. And if we want to get out from this material world, we have to transform this subtle body. Mind, intelligence, false ego have to be fully transformed and spiritualized. All the material impressions, desires, attachments, they have to be replaced with spiritual attachments, desires, and impressions. So that requires quite some work. To go back to Godhead, not so easy. Yes. I mean, Prabhupada tricked us a little bit, you know, just saying, just chant Hare Krishna, dance, take prasadam, so easy. Okay, so easy. But then as we take up the process, we realize, oh, it's not so easy at all. We have to actually do quite some internal work, and we have to transform our patterns of behaviors or our false ego patterns of behaviors. We have to transform them. Our desires, our likes and dislikes and habits and worldviews, and basically our very heart, so that bhakti can develop there. So it is a whole internal matter. It's not external. Very often we take Krishna consciousness as a very external thing of just externally going through the motions, offering our little lamp there and offering the flowers to Prabhupada, you know, very external. But the heart may just not even be involved, you know. Yes, and we may not even be conscious of what we are doing, you know. Yes, and we may think, yes, success in spiritual life is just to get up on there on the ladder of hierarchy, getting a position, having 50,000 friends on Facebook and YouTube, and oh, now I'm successful. But now, my God, it's a whole internal matter. So now, false ego already starts affecting us at a very young age. Small child. I remember once I was speaking to one family. Their daughter was just 1 year old, could just walk, couldn't speak. And while I was talking to the parents in the lounge room, the girl was bringing all her toys from her room. And I didn't give it much attention. I thought, okay, she wants to play or something. But then the mother said, oh, she is showing off her toys because you are here. And I was thinking, oh my God, here we go. Already at 1 year of age, we want to show off. We think my toys are so special. And because they're my toys, that's why I am so special. Yeah, so that's how it starts. Because the toys are like the first possessions of a child, and that's why there's always so much fighting over the toys, all these false ego battles. And it actually even starts before then, when kids make tantrums and scream and want attention and they want their desire pushed through. This is all false ego stuff already, So basically, false ego means we think ourselves to be something which we are not. That's in a nutshell what the false ego does. So if there's a false ego, then there must be also a true ego. So that's Jiva Swarupa Krishna Nityadas. I am eternal servant, servant of the servant. That's all I am. That's the true identification. But anything else than that is false designations, upadis, right? So, and as we go through life, the layer of upadis becomes thicker and thicker, right? It starts off, yes, I'm a little boy, I'm a little girl. So then I'm a pupil, and I'm a good or bad pupil. And then I'm a student. And yes, of course, the nationality. I am Indian, German, American, Russian, whatever it may be. So, and like that, we accept so many designations. So, and then I'm an IT student or a medical student or this or that. And then we may get married. So now I'm husband, I'm wife, I'm father, I'm mother. And even when we join Krishna consciousness, it doesn't stop there, Then I'm a brahmachari, I'm a grihastha, I'm the head pujari, I'm a Sankirtan devotee, I'm the head cook, and I'm the temple president, and I'm the regional secretary, and so the layer of upadis becomes thicker and thicker. And of course, there are always certain roles we are playing, no doubt. We all have roles we play, right? At home, we play roles. Then, at the temple, we play a different role. At work, we play a different role. When we visit our parents, we again play a different role. And so they're all roles we play, like we may be wearing caps or hats. We take one off, take another one, and But hopefully we don't identify with these hats or caps. We may even identify if it's a really special and unique one, then that hat almost becomes part of our identity. And then when we lose the head, oh my God, I've lost some part of myself, you know. But hopefully it's not that bad. Oh, it's just a hat, you know. So, yeah. But these roles, somehow we don't just treat them like hats, you know, which we are wearing at certain times in detachment. No, we become attached to them. We identify with them. So my question to you, what do you think? Why do we identify with these roles we play? Huh? So that we can succeed. Yeah, we're thinking we're the body. Yeah, succeed. What do these roles do? Yeah, but what do the roles do? What do they exactly? It gives enjoyment. We are enjoying this subtle gratification of being somebody, right? I'm something, I'm somebody. It gives us a sense of importance. And that's exactly what the false ego demands, to enjoy that sense of importance, right? And that makes us attached, you know? Yes, that's where the attachment lies. So let me just do a 2-minute exercise with you. Turn to your neighbor and share which is your favorite hat, which you're so attached to that imagining of having to give it up is almost worse than death. Quickly, 2 minutes. We don't have more time. Just 2 minutes, just to become more conscious. Turn around, share very quickly. Okay, go Premanandi. So hopefully everybody shared something. I mean, for women, I am the mother's hat can be a pretty big one, you know, because a mother is sacrificing so much. I dare say mothers are sacrificing more in many ways than fathers, right? Pregnancy and you know, that's why Prabhupada says mother's love is the closest to pure love in this material world. So, and then when the child is 16, the mother has to give up. She has to take off this I am the mother's hat and put on the hat I'm a friend, not the mother anymore who controls and disciplines and corrects and chastises. And this, for most women, is so difficult, so difficult. Sometimes, you know, even when the son is already 45, she still thinks she has to tell him what to do and treat him like a kid and all that. You know, some of you may have that experience. So it's the false ego making her think, I am the mother, I am in control here, you know. Confirmed, the cows are confirmed. So, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I am a brahmachari. this can be a pretty big one, you know, because there's a lot of prestige coming, saffron, you know. I mean, in the Western world, that species is almost distinct. You know, you hardly even see it anymore. You know, so there is a lot of glory coming along. And I have observed this, that it can be a real tough thing for a person to give up that status. You know, even though he may see, oh, actually, I'm not properly situated, and you know, I should move on to the next ashram. But what will everybody think? You know, whenever we contemplate that, what is everybody thinking of me now? False ego, you know? Yes, yes, yes. And then, of course, titles, positions, you know, any kind of leadership title. Ooh, there's a lot of, you know, subtle enjoyment, recognition, importance coming along, you know? Yes, that's another thing. You know, I mean, having been in Krishna consciousness for 40 years now, full time, you know, and I'm the kind of person, I always observe things, what's happening, and I see how sometimes we get so attached to titles and positions. And I'm scratching my head thinking, well, Shastra is promising detachment. So somehow there's missing something, you know. Well, what are we doing wrong that after 40 years there's still so much attachment to these things? Yes. I mean, once I was speaking to a very senior person who has a very high position. I'm not going to say what and who, but because I have a friendly relationship, one day we were talking, and there was this idea in the air that this person would have to give up their position. And I was just saying to the person, well, you know, there is life beyond being ... whatever. There's life beyond that. And the person said, yeah, okay, but who am I then? Okay. And I just said, well, Vaishnava, servant of the servant. Yeah, yeah, okay. Still, who am I then? And I didn't say any more than that because the person is senior, not my position to, you know, instruct them or something. I was just thinking, my God, here we go. You know, these titles can become like our true identity. And then when we have to give them up, we almost fall into a crisis, an identity crisis. Who am I now? What am I? A nobody? You know? Yes. Yes. So we can just really fall into a hole, you know? Yes, yes. Yeah, so that's how the false ego affects us. And it is so subtle that we may not even recognize it. Yeah. And going back to the point of understanding, false ego makes us think to be something which we are not. So that makes it very clear. If we think ourselves to be something which we are not, how can we be peaceful? We can't, because we always have to pretend to be something which we are not. You know? So let's imagine we are just a simple bhakta in the temple, and then one day we say, so I'm the temple president now. Well, we would be in a big anxiety. How will we convince everybody that we are the temple president? And what if they find out that I'm actually not? A lot of anxiety, right? So, and if we then say after a few days, oh, it was just a joke, I'm just the new bhakta. Oh, thank God, what a relief. You know, I don't have to pretend to be something which I'm not. So, because we always think ourselves to be the enjoyer, the controller, the proprietor. And this designation and that designation. You know, we cannot be peaceful. You know, there's always that anxiety there. What if somebody realizes I'm actually not these things? Yeah. So, and that's why the more we actually practice Krishna consciousness deeply and become free from the false ego's demands, the more peaceful we become. It's one of the results of pure devotional service, that we're peaceful and joyful and always happy, even if things don't go the way we want, you know. So yes, this is a fact, you know. We cannot be peaceful. So now the last bit of time we have left, I do want to briefly go to the verse 1858 in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, actually here Krishna gives us two options of acting. And he says, if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. This is the option number one, right? Acting in consciousness of him. So what does that mean? What does it mean, acting in consciousness of Krishna? We are the servant, yes. We really act in this deep understanding of I am servant. Jiva Svabhava Krishna Nitya. So, and not only that, of course, we also accept Krishna's instructions and recommendations. That's what it means to act in consciousness of Krishna. So, and then if we act like that, we can pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by Krishna's grace. Wow, that's amazing, you know. So in the Bhagavatam, we have this nice analogy how the insurmountable ocean of material existence shrinks to the size of a hoof print of a calf, not even a cow, but a calf, filled with water. So if you go for a little walk, you step over a hoof print of a calf filled with water. No big deal. You don't even notice it. Right? So this whole ocean, insurmountable ocean, where we can't get out, shrinks to the size of a hoof print of a calf. If we just act in Krishna consciousness, then we can overcome any problem, any obstacle. So in a nutshell, that's option number one. Now, the other option Krishna gives us, if, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. Right? So, not hearing Krishna. So false ego blocks our ears, blocks our intelligence. We can't hear, we can't understand. You know? Yes. And sooner or later we will be lost. At the latest, at the moment of death, when we have to take another birth in the material world. But actually so much earlier already, before then. When we look back on our life, whenever we were facing some challenges, some calamities, when we were miserable, when we look back, we may be able to see that, yes, I was acting through false ego. I was trying to show off. I was trying to control. I was trying to be the hero who knows it all better. And, you know, what's happening? Or it doesn't disturb me if he offers it. I don't know. Yes. So what did I say? Yeah, second option, but Yeah, so when we look back on our life in these suffering moments, now looking back, we may be able to realize, yes, I was acting through false ego, and that's how I created my miseries. At the moment, we will not be able to recognize because false ego blocks us. But looking back, we can see, maybe, hopefully, Yes. Yeah, so this is quite profound, this verse, And these two options of acting also make the point that there are two motivating forces in life, right? In the material world, material success is all about false ego motivation, ambitiousness. I want to become a doctor, lawyer, this, that, and. It's all ambitious false ego motivation. So that's one motivating force. But then there is another one, the Vaishnav motivating force. What's that? What's the Vaishnav motivating force? Huh? All I want to do is serve, right? All I want to do is serve, whatever it may be. I just want to serve because that's our actual position, Yes. And interestingly, no need in Krishna consciousness to develop a whole career in Krishna consciousness. I want to become a guru, a sannyasi, a worldwide traveling preacher, a famous author, this, that. No, wrong approach. That's the false ego motivation. All we have to do is serve with heart and soul. And Paramatma in the heart will recognize that selfless mood of service. And naturally, Krishna will arrange, he will open so many opportunities and doors to us. Yes, it's very natural, Even within a temple, if we really give ourselves in service and we are responsible and dutiful and punctual, then our seniors will recognize that and they will give us more responsibilities. It will attract more service to us and more opportunities to develop different projects, very natural. So I feel this is so important for us devotees to understand that there is no need to take these ambitiousness which is going on out there in the material world. We should not take this into our devotional life, because we are so conditioned by our environment and surroundings and propaganda, and very easily we take that into our devotional life and we think, that's also how I get ahead in Krishna consciousness, by being ambitious and having this false ego motivation. But no, this will not attract Krishna's merciful glance. What attracts Krishna's mercy is if we simply want to serve. And our first generation devotees, Prabhupada disciples, they're a very good example. They were willing to sacrifice their very life to please Prabhupada. And that attracted Krishna's empowerment. Because if we want to do anything in Krishna consciousness, if we want to do some little contribution, we actually need the empowerment of the Lord and Prabhupada and Guru. And we don't get that with an ambitious false ego motivation. We don't get that. We may be expert in pulling off a big show there, but we won't be able to transform people's hearts. For that, we need Krishna's empowerment. Yeah. Let's be clear in this, yes. So, but this is very, reassuring for us to understand that we don't have to make a whole big career there. No, if we just serve with heart and soul, Krishna will arrange everything at the right time. And in this regard, also interesting to understand, sometimes we may find ourselves in a situation where we feel, actually, I could do so much more, but somehow it's not happening, right? Anybody of you has had that experience? Yes. I remember looking 20 years back, I also had that experience. So what does it mean? It means Krishna puts on the brakes, because Krishna sees if he would give us the opportunity, we would not be able to handle the success. In other words, we would get too puffed up, which ruins our whole cultivation of bhakti. So therefore, he puts on the handbrakes. He doesn't give us the opportunity. He forces us to purify ourselves a little more. So good to understand, because we may get very frustrated, and or we may, if we are in a woman's body, we may even think, oh, it's because I'm a woman. They don't give me the opportunity, and, we may get all irritated. No, it's this Krishna putting the brakes on because we are too ambitious for the ego. Yes. Yeah, so good to understand these things. But my last point I want to make today, saying this does not mean the false ego is all bad. No, it also has a little good side to it. Because at least the false ego motivation gets us going. At least we do something. I once heard in a class one initiating guru saying, false ego has to be given up, but not too quickly. Because if we give up the false ego motivation before we have cultivated the selfless mood of service, then we will drown in tamaguna. We will be lazy and do nothing. So initially, we all start off with false ego motivation. But let us understand, we have to purify it eventually. And that's what Krishna consciousness is all about. It's all purifying journey, from the false ego motivation gradually to the pure motivation of simply wanting to serve. Right? Yes. So, but initially, it has some good sides. For example, Grihastha ashram. There is a fair bit of false ego motivation. It's part of it. My wife, my husband, my house, my car, yes. So, Grihastha ashram needs that understanding of how do I say? I'm missing the word now. Ownership. It needs that sense of ownership. And that motivates a person, to be responsible. Like in the Western world, in the temples, I always observe the cars belonging to the temple, they're usually not very nicely maintained. Here in India, often we have drivers and they wash the car, fully paid drivers. In the West, we don't have the money to pay a person to be a driver. every bhakta drives the car, every brahmachari, everybody drives them. Everybody knocks them around. Nobody services them. And nobody washes them because it's not my car. But when it's the grihastha's cars, my car, oh, they look very nicely serviced and cared for, because it's my car. And then I take nicely care of it, But if it's just the temple, But actually it should be the other way around. Krishna's car, we should take nicely care. And our car, all right, if we get some time, we wash it, But no, this false ego motivating force is definitely much stronger in the beginning, Yes. So that's why Grihastha life is very purifying, because that sense of ownership gives us this motivation of being responsible, dutiful, caring, serving, Yes. But if we are not married, then we often hang around and, we're not so motivated, Yes. And I mean, very last point, being servant always offers the solution to all problems. Yeah. It's good to keep that in the back of our mind. When we find ourselves in an agitating and irritating situation, if we can make 2 steps back and ask ourselves, what am I trying to do here? Am I trying to be humble servant, or am I just trying to be the controller and the enjoyer? Then we will realize if we just take the position of servant, it will offer the solution. We can imagine a situation. Let's imagine we are traveling preacher, we visit some temple, we are scheduled to give the Sunday feast class, and then unexpectedly a Maharaj comes. He was not scheduled, but somehow he turns up. So then the temple president may say, oh, Prabhu, I think we should ask Maharaj to give the class, right? Vaishnava etiquette. So if we are in the mood of servant, this will not be a problem. We will say, okay, fine. All I want to do is serve. If I serve as a speaker or as a hearer, no difference to me. But if we're not in the mood of servant, we will get all agitated. I came here. What is this? I was on the schedule. This is my chance to meet the devotees, and I'm never ever going to go there again. And because we want to enjoy that position of speaking. Or let's say we are temple president, and then the GBC comes, or maybe somebody else should do the service. If we are in the mood of servant, no issue whatsoever. We will simply say, okay, fine, all I want to do is serve. And I thought I can serve you all by being the temple president. But if you have some other opinion and other suggestion, fine with me. Please let me know how I can serve. But unfortunately, it usually does not go that way. And often it's a whole thing to take somebody off a position and replace him. Whole big scandal, whole politics and conflict, and oh my God, So yeah, being servant always offers the solution to every problem. Yeah, very simple and yet profound and powerful. Very practical too. So before we ask for questions, some of you may be running out the door. Let me take the opportunity to say a few words about every book. See, what we can also do is, if there's not enough time today, you take a note of a few questions and we address them on Monday. because Monday I will have to do a 2-minute recap anyway, just to refresh everybody's mind what we were discussing today. So we can also leave the question for Monday, right? If you don't have time, I have time. I can be. To shut me up or something. I warned you that it's my karma, you know. Okay, so it was not a conspiracy. Spiritual culture, Krishna's divine system. This is all about the different man, woman natures, qualities, that man, woman are not equal. The equality is there on the level of the body, but not on the, sorry. I'm just testing if you're awake. The equality is there on the level of the soul, but not on the level of the body. Man, woman, very different because they're meant to play different roles. So if you read this book, you will realize how this man-woman equality puts the whole human society upside down. And as a German woman, I can say this. If the same statement comes from a man's mouth, it may not be so well accepted. Yeah, very interesting, highly helpful for married life, because we women play a very important role. We have a very powerful Shakti, but Bhagavatam says we should use that Shakti to empower the men and not to compete with them. But because of this man-woman equality, the women today compete, and the men don't like that very much. Maybe our married ladies have noticed this. Yeah. So interesting, thought-provoking to read this book. Even the whole book is about women, yet in many temples here in India especially, they use this book as a handbook for brahmachari training. So the brahmacharis also understand what is this, the role of women, what is this man-woman equality all about? You know, we have to know these things for preaching and because there's so many heavy statements in the Bhagavatam about women. So we have to know how to explain them nicely. So you will find it all in this book, all the controversial topics about women. I'm trying to give it balanced. And I learned all these things in Bangladesh. Yeah, it took me more than 20 years, you know, to get these insights. Coming from Germany, when I joined in Australia, I was in the mood of man-woman equality. I was the one who made all the big revolutions in Sydney in the temple, that the women can do this and that they can be in the front and. So and then in Bangladesh, I realized, okay, this is not the right way. You know, took me a while. Sheltering relationships. This is all about the importance of having a counselor. That just having Diksha Shiksha Guru not enough. We need this more experienced, well-wishing friend who guides us, who helps us to move forward, especially when it comes to the false ego, because the false ego blocks us so much we can't see. We need this friend who has no other interest except our spiritual development. And he can tap us on the shoulder and say, hey, just cool down, relax, you're overreacting a bit, and your false ego is getting in your way. And you know, if we don't have such a person in our life, we are leading a risky life. Yes. Then false ego, our constant companion and troublemaker. I think we have some little glimpse idea what this is all about. But this book also has a whole chapter about chanting the holy name, because the chanting is so instrumental in dissolving the false ego, but we have to know how to chant. So there is like a summary of our holy name retreat in this book also, which makes it a powerful combination. And then we have entering the Grihastha ashram. This is like a handbook for matchmaking, because here in India, we need a bit of help with this. People, parents, they only look at caste and money, and they don't look at any other devotional levels of compatibility. And traveling all around the world in most temples in Australia, New Zealand, US, Canada, it's mainly devotees from Indian families. And I meet so many mismatched, unhappy couples from Indian background, where I'm thinking, God, why did you guys get married? Well, our parents arranged it, you know. Yes. So in this book, you find a list of 200 topics which the boy and the girl should discuss. This is another problem, that in India, people don't talk. You know, they just meet each other once for 20 minutes in the temple room, don't even know what to talk about, and then the parents make the deal. You know, I mean, even when you buy a computer, you spend more than 20 minutes looking at this thing, that thing. What do I need? What is important for me? You know, what to speak of an important lifetime question of getting married. We have to talk about things. Yes, because now the divorce rate in India is increasing. And one reason is lousy matchmaking. Yeah. And I meet ladies, they're already 35, still not married, because they're so afraid. They see how it is done and they don't want to have this, you know? Or people go to the love marriage, which I call lust marriage. Doesn't sound so nice anymore. That's what we do in the Western world. Oh, well, there we have a huge divorce rate. That's also not the answer. You know, so let's refine our matchmaking techniques. So it's an important book for unmarried people who want to get married, for parents, for counselors, for anybody who is in a position of helping people to settle in a compatible marriage. And last but not least, family life as an ashram, secrets of success. How to create this culture of bhakti in our home. Many married devotees' home life you cannot call an ashram, a place suitable for cultivating bhakti, you know, because we don't take any training. And therefore, we don't know the difference between mundane family life and family life as an ashram. So there's many important things how to really transform our and spiritualize our. And there's a whole chapter on physical intimacy in marriage, how to live this principle of no illicit sex life. There's quite a bit of confusion, especially here in India. People don't talk about these things, and people are at a loss how to make things work. So I did quite some research. I came across interesting episodes and instructions from Prabhupada, which hardly anybody knows. And that adds a whole different perspective to the topic. Yeah. Because if we don't understand this in a mature and deeper way, it also can lead to divorce. Yeah. So if any of you would like to get any books, the last 3 books are 350 each. The first 2 are 300 each. Many people get the whole set, which comes to 1,650. And you can pay cash or with QR code. I think last time I visited you, I only had the first book, right? Some of you have it already. Or did I have the second one too? No, only first one. So you see, I've been quite busy, you know, in these 6 years. And I'm now just about to print the next one. I'm in the final stage of getting it ready. About the Vanaprastha ashram. Nobody even talks about it. even though the Bhagavatam is full of quotes and statements, heavy statements Prabhupada makes, how it is a must. But it's the forgotten ashram. Even though people read 3, 4, 5 times the whole Bhagavatam, but still they don't realize, hey, it's for me, I should do this, you know. Yeah, so I feel we need some literature to make Prabhupada's teachings more accessible to us. And that's what I'm trying to give. It's all completely based on Prabhupada, nothing else. But it makes it more accessible and more practical, you know, of practical relevance, how we are meant to apply it, right? Yes. So if you want to get some books, please, you can come up to me right now. Okay, thank you so much for your kind attention. So tonight we have a program somewhere in your place on death, if I remember. Then tomorrow we have a ladies' Sangha at 11. Please, ladies, come and join it. And then in the evening, I have some other program somewhere in Begu or whatever. But then Sunday morning, we meet again here. The topic of Prajalpa. Prajalpa, it will destroy this movement. That's the full title. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki. Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari. Huh? Oh, they have to come. Maybe whoever comes, that's it. But if when we run out, I
Krishna, now I'm going to show Prabhupada and deities. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, now in the class. Hope to see you in the evening in the temple. Hare Krishna.